Yep.
Excuse me, detective. Sorry to bother you, but we have a new crime scene.
Okay.
It was discovered this morning by a woman running in the park. From what I have heard, the body has been there for a while and was completely decomposed. I've determined that the victim is a Caucasoid man. The nasal area is prominent into nasal spine, the chin area is square and angular, the orbital ridges appear to be quite pronounced, indicating a male victim.
Here and here, there appears to be perifractures on both the victim's arms, indicating he put up a fight against the aggressor. Other fractures around the ribs and abdominal area are also visible. There are numerous fracture lines that seem to radiate outward from the points of impact, consistent with compression fractures caused by sharp force trauma.
I think it's safe to say that this was a murder. The lab came back with the entomology results, and it was obvious the condition of the body has been outside for at least a few weeks. The lab found adult blowflies present on the body as well as other beetles, indicating the body has been there for at least 30 days.
Okay, we'll get the lab to do facial recognition on the skull to see if we can determine the identity of this victim.
Another murder detected. Discovered an hour ago, female victim, 2 gunshot wounds to the back. We identified her as Angela White, editor-in-chief of the local newspaper. By the blood splatter patterns, it seems the murder had occurred in this exact location and is consistent with a high-velocity gunshot impact. The direction of blood splatter indicates the perpetrator was standing behind her and shot her 2 times in the back while she was running and walking away.
Got too involved in one of her stories, maybe? Let's go over the scene and collect all the evidence. Grab some gloves, officer.
I found a bullet casing that comes from a 9mm handgun. I'll do ballistics analysis when we get back to the station.
I've collected hair and fiber samples as well as a few blood samples we can do analysis on too. There's also a handwritten note in her pocket saying, "Meet me Monday, 12 p.m. in the field." But it's unsigned. We can search her office to see if we can find anything to compare the handwriting to.
We found the gun!
Looks like we found the gun that killed Angela White. We'll have to dust this for fingerprints later and see if we are lucky and get a match on APHIS. together and found a partial print. It was an accidental world type with 2 deltas on either side, but there was no match on the database.
I analyzed the bullet and found that the striations on the bullet matched those would be caused by the gun we found, confirming that this gun and this bullet that killed our victim.
Still nothing that points us to a specific suspect. Let's keep going.
Detective, I looked at the hair and the fiber samples under the microscope. The fiber was black and based on a weave pattern. I believe it's a type of cotton polyester blend, which is very common in clothing. The hair I found has a continuous medulla pattern, and its pigmentation was distributed, meaning it came from a dog.
Our victim doesn't own a dog, so the hair must have come from our killer. To narrow down our suspect list, look for suspects who own dogs. I did DNA blood analysis, and the blood I collected did not have a nucleus, meaning it's human. To determine if it was from our victim, I mixed the blood with anti-serum. Sample 1, which I collected off the clothing of the victim, clumped with anti-A only, which is consistent with the victim's type A positive blood. But the blood sample 2, which I collected underneath the fingernails of our victim, clumped with both anti-A and B, not a match to our victim. I'm thinking the victim defended herself and injured whoever it was who shot and killed her. Hello? Okay, thanks. We determined the identity of our male victim, found in the park. His name is Michael White, Angela's husband.
Looks like someone must have wanted to get rid of both Angela and Michael.
Angela White must have realized her husband was gone, so why didn't she report him missing? His employees reported it after he didn't show up for work for a few days.
Either she wanted him gone, they recently separated but no one knew about it, or she didn't know he was missing. But we can't ask about because they're both gone now.
Let's look at these notes. Maybe they can tell us something. This note was the one found on Angela's body. This to-do list was found in Angela's office and was written by Angela herself. The writing of the note and this list clearly do not match. The Y on the to-do list has a loop. The Y's on our evidence don't. The note written by Angela is more handwritten and more slanted than the others. So she must have received this note from someone else.
I analyzed these notes and what I found is the Y's are similar, the I's match, and the slants of both writings are the same. And this note was signed by Jennifer Collins.
Great. Let's find this Jennifer and bring her in for questioning.
Ms. Collins, I would like to take you in for questioning on both the murders of Angela and Michael White.
I didn't do it.
Hello, Jennifer. I'm Detective Maple. Do you know why you're here? Well, first of all, you attempted to assault a police officer and threatened him with a deadly weapon. Where were you Monday between 11 and 1 o'clock?
Driving to work.
And you were an employee of Angela White?
Yes, I was. I worked for her for 5 years.
And you know who Michael White is too?
Yes, he's Angela's husband.
He's dead too, unless you already knew that.
Are you accusing me of something?
We created a geographic profile comparing both the murder sites of Mr. and Mrs. White to your house, their house, and where you all worked. These 2 dots are the murder sites, and this dot is your house, and this dot is your work. All dots appear to be in close proximity to each other. And from all the information we collected, we developed a profile for the murderer. The suspect is college educated and has an average to above average intelligence. White is socially confident and has daytime habits. We also concluded the suspect lives alone, lives or works near the crime scene, leaves physical evidence at one site, and kills at one site. Our suspect is both organized and disorganized. This profile applies to you quite well, doesn't it?
That doesn't mean anything. That could be anybody.
Yes, well, we collected quite a lot of evidence from both the murders. Since we took the knife in as evidence and took a DNA swab and fingerprints from you, we were able to match this information to the evidence we collected.
Can I take a polygraph test? I don't know what it is, but it'll prove that I'm innocent.
For a polygraph, you would have to be hooked up to the polygraph machine with 4 to 6 sensors attached to your body. The sensors will measure changes in your breathing, rate, blood pressure, pulse, and levels of perspiration. A questionnaire will ask a set of questions relating to this case, and your involuntary reactions to each question will be recorded onto moving paper. The results will indicate a pass or a fail. You can take the test, but we have enough evidence to indicate that you are guilty.
What evidence?
Here's the evidence you asked for. The fiber, the 2 samples of blood, and the note.
The fingerprint we lifted off the gun you left at Angela White's crime scene, which matches the bullet that killed her, matches your right middle finger. The lab confirmed that the hair we found left on her body belongs to your dog, and the fiber piece collected matches a jacket we found at your house. The DNA we collected from your mouth swab matches blood DNA evidence we found underneath the nails of the victim. The note we found in Angela's pocket stating a time and a place to meet, which was consistent with the time of death, was compared to a sample of your writing, and they match. And the knife. The knife we collected off you matches the wounds and marks found on Michael White's bones. We believe you killed Michael, then a few months later killed his wife. What we don't know is why.
Yeah, okay, fine. I killed them both. I didn't think they'd find Michael's body way out in the middle of a forest. When Angela heard of his death, she put the pieces together. She knew I was the last one to see him before he disappeared. She was the one who told me to drive him to the airport, so she just thought he was on a long-term vacation for his job. That's why she didn't report him missing. What she didn't know was that he was threatening to expose me for one of my bogus stories. I couldn't risk losing my job and my reputation, so I saw this as the perfect opportunity to solve the problem.
So you stabbed him and dumped the body in the park.
Yeah, and Angela just had to get involved. Reporter instincts. She called me asking about it, so I left her a note telling me when and where to meet her. When she came, she confronted me and threatened to tell the police. So we fought. She ended up scratching my arm. When she turned around and started walking and looking all confident and sure of herself, I shot her twice in the back. Didn't even see it coming.
Jennifer Collins, you are under arrest for the murder of Angela and Michael White.